Hi guys. So we are in the session number 4 for Python for Beginners course. We are at the chapter called data types today. And before we get into this chapter, I would like to just give you a quick brief of what happened in the last session. And I hope you guys have already started, programming of what happened in the previous session. And believe me, only if you start getting your hands dirty, you will learn it. Else, I'm very much sure of you losing the topics as we move forward. So, as a best practice, I would always advise you to, completely spend 2 hours of time at least after the session to, get your hands on the programming, on the console, because everybody will face some real problems. So, only if you face real problems, you try to solve it yourself, you learn better. Okay, so this is the reason why I keep saying the same things again and again in every session, so that I'm sure that you guys will follow that and learn something from the complete course, right? So on that note, so let me tell you what happened in the last session. So wherein we started understanding what is actually a package, module, or a library. We know why do we have to import something into your Python session so that you start utilizing the functions inside that package or module inside your session. With that example, we started learning what is OS, sys, print, etc. And we have also seen how to identify your current session from the operating system front. And in case if you have some issues and if you want to terminate the complete process, how to do that. So that's what we have learned in the last session. And one thing that we did not cover much in the last session was date, though it was in the part of the topic. Somehow I missed it, but we are doing it today in the current session. Okay. So the current chapter for you is data types. You can also call date as one of the data types. So it is fine that it moved from the previous session to today's session because it is more meaningful to cover that in this topic, sorry, in this chapter. So that's the reason there is no problem. We are going to cover date, text data type, are also called as string data type, numeric data types, booleans, objects, and some data operations on the data, and then how do you prompt input from the user, right? So all of this is what we are going to learn in this session. So we are going to do a lot of hands-on. In the last session, we did only the introductory pieces, a very small in bits and pieces, just to make you guys comfortable with the Python and its programming and the panels, the PyCharm very importantly, how to read the panels, variable panels, etc., project panel, text panel, and then Python terminal. So all of these, right? So let's now start off with the data types. I have something on the screen for you. So as every time, just open up your PyCharm, just double click the project, and your project is there up for you on the screen. All right. I have session number 4 that is ready for you coming up here. So let's start with date. So just like OS as a default package, you also have datetime as a package that is available by default when you install Python on your system. When I say import date, just say, and one more thing, as a habit, I wanted to let you guys know, as a habit, I basically select this piece and then execute the command with the shortcut as I see on my right click, that is command return for me. Whatever is the shortcut for you on your system, please make it as a habit. Another thing, you need not select the complete line. That is my habit because I also program in R. So in the R programming language, that is R Studio, I have to select the complete line and execute. So that's the reason my habit is select the complete line and then execute. But you need not do that. So have your cursor on the same line anywhere and then say command enter, it will execute that line. So don't worry about it. It is not always that you have to select the complete line and execute. Okay? Point number 1. So the next one is I have imported, date time into my Python console now. Okay? So now if I have to, see what is my current date and time. So inside the package called date time, there is another function called date time. And inside that you have something called date now. So when I say now, it will exactly print what is my system time. Okay, so I'm printing this, see here, this is the date time and this is my system time. This is my system time just because I am in a different time zone. That's the reason it is showing my time zone. Okay, so I'm in the Japan time zone, so that's the reason you see the Japan time zone. But whenever you run this on your system, you basically see your local date and time. All right. In case if you don't want to basically import everything that is there in the datetime module, but you wanted to import only one function inside the package called datetime, this is what the command that you have to use. From datetime, import datetime. That means you're only importing this second section of the complete module, which means instead of you writing this complete datetime, you can basically say only datetime dot now. So it all depends what do you want to import into your kernel. Do you want to import everything inside this package? You can use this. In case if you're importing like this, you have to also have another layer called datetime. Inside that you have now. In case if you don't want to import everything inside this package, you only wanted to import one function inside this package, you can say from this package, import only this function. And after that, I can directly use like this. All right. Now you might be thinking, what are the available packages or the functions inside this package? How do I ever know? As always, just say import datetime, just type datetime and then you say dot. You will see everything that is available inside that package. These are all the list of functions which are available inside that package. Date, datetime, time, right? Time zone, delta, time delta, all of these are available inside the main package called datetime. Okay. So making on the same note, in case if I don't want to basically see the time, I only wanted to get the date out of it. Again, inside this datetime, there is another, function called only date. As I have just shown you, datetime dot, if you say, see, there is something called date. So what would I do? Inside this datetime, because I have date, I basically say from datetime import date, and I said date dot today. What is today? Just give me the date. No times, only the date. If date is the only criteria for you to know, not the timings, right? Then you can just say date dot today, and that is part of the package called datetime. All right. Now, you had some situation where you need to add number of days to the current date or subtract the number of days to the current date. How do you do it? Through the program, right? So from the same package called datetime, I'm importing datetime function as well as time delta function into my Python console. After this, you know this already. This is my today. Now, if you see the beauty of it, for today, what I'm saying, add one day, but -1. Okay. I don't want to confuse you with this first. So better I explain you what is this first. Okay. Now, what am I doing here? I just say, better I think this. Cool. So to keep it simple, for today, I'm basically adding, see the operator here, I'm adding one day. So what will be the date time when I add one day to the current date time? So instead of 16:04 and the time, I will be getting 17:04 and the same time, exactly 24 hours has been added. See here, 17. Similarly, if I have to subtract one day from today, that means exactly subtracting 24 hours. Instead of using plus operator, I can use minus operator with the same thing. And now if I execute this, so instead of 16th, I subtracted one day from the current date time. All right. Now you can do multiple ways like this. That's the reason Python is very flexible in programming, right? If someone likes to add or subtract days like this, they can do. Or if someone wants to subtract a date by using a plus operator here, but using a minus operator here, they can also do that. So this is exactly the same as this operator. The operators here, this command, the operators have changed. This minus went here and this plus has come here. Both are one and the same, right? So just command plus, it's the same thing. And if someone don't wants to directly use plus operator to add a day, they can use minus operator here and minus here. Both minuses means you are adding one day to the current date, right? You must have recollected your algebra, right? Minus into minus is plus, minus into plus is minus, plus into minus is minus, plus into plus is plus. It's exactly the same thing. Now you guys might have a question. That's fine. Adding the number of days is fine. If I want to add, 10 minutes to the current time, how do I do it? Right? So if you get that question, let's do it here. So in the date time to the date time to the current date, I wanted to do a delta operation. Of this delta operation, instead of adding days, you see the beauty of it, it has given you what inputs it can take. All right. So in case if you don't know what inputs it takes, just click on the command button on your keyboard. It is command for me, and for Windows it should be control. If you click on that and you hover on it, you see a selection icon, right? And it says what you can pass as an input to this function. If you click on this, it will open a new tab. In this tab, it is saying, see, you can give days as an input, seconds as an input, minutes as an input, hours as an input, weeks as an input, fold as an input. All right. This is the immediate help that you are getting, how time delta can be utilized. That's the reason I like PyCharm. Okay. So that's the reason PyCharm is the one that is the true helper to the developer. You need not go to Google and search. If you know what function to use, just click the command button on your keyboard. You will get a hover like this. If you click on that, it will take you to the source code. Right? This source code says it takes days input, seconds as input, microseconds as input, milliseconds as also as an input, etc. etc. Now, according to my requirement, I just wanted to add, I will say minutes. See, it is advising you as well. Minutes. And I wanted to add just 10 minutes to today. Now, if I execute this, you're basically adding 10 minutes to the current time. That's it. And if I wanted to add hours to the current time, so hours, and then say I wanted to add only 1 hour to the current time. See, you are adding 1 hour. From 22 hours to 23 hours it has become. So you can play around with the date, like this very much. I'll leave up to you, because you know what is the time delta function. You know what are all the inputs it can take. It can take seconds input, microseconds, hours, etc. etc. Anything. Okay, close this. Do not change this at all. As you open this console, please do not make any changes to this file. Remember, it opens a file called datetime.py. Please close it, because you are actually changing the source code. If something goes corrupt, you cannot utilize the time delta function again in the future. Okay, don't mess with this. It's a good to know thing. That's it. All right, come back. Now I'm creating a variable. See, I know what is 3 days behind from today, right? If I only execute this piece, I only get the date one, right? Because I'm saying here I said date time, but here I'm saying date. I know 3 days before, that is 13th of April. I wanted to save this in a variable, okay? Which I don't see it here, right? So if I execute this, my rskill _ 3 days is a variable name that I have created manually. And that has got 2020, 04 and 13, right? That's what it is, right? And now if I wanted to see what is the data type of this variable, which is sitting inside my memory. And remember, this variable is inside the memory of it is nothing but RAM of your system. As soon as you close your console, these variables are erased from your RAM. As soon as you click on this, red stop console, these variables are cleaned off from your memory. You want to see that? See. As soon as you click on plus, this you can see here, but when you restore this, all of this is gone. All the variables are cleaned up from the memory. Okay. So because I have to run everything from the start, I'm just selecting everything and then say command enter, and all the print statements are there for you on the screen, and the variable is also created for me. Okay. So what is the type of the variable that got created? Because the input was date time, it is saying whatever variable that you have created, this variable is of type date. Okay, it is datetime.date. Now what if I wanted to create a string variable? That means this variable, inside the variable, the data is not date, the data is something called text. So I create something like this, I say command enter. Now there is another variable created called rskill text, which is of string data type, and this is the value inside the variable. And I can also print this, right? And you see the output here. Now, how do I check the data type of this variable? Again, as always, just set type of the variable name. You see the type as string. And you can also see the same thing here as well. That's the beauty. You need not basically type some command to know what is the type of the variable if you are using PyCharm. That's an additional benefit. You can see the variables right away here, the values right away here, and the data types of the variables also right away here. Okay. Now I'm creating a variable. See here, the actual content is a number. But as soon as I give it in the double quotes, this variable is also a string variable. See here. Though the content inside the double quotes is numeric, the data type still remains a string because you have given the input in double quotes. Now you might ask me, right? See here, data is 110 only, but the data type is string. It has to be numeric, right? Then you should not pass in double quotes if you want to create a numeric data type or integer data type. Now I'm creating a variable called Oracle_num, which is 30. Now you see here int 30. This is an integer data type of variable. If you don't specify anything in double quotes, it is an integer and it will only accept integer without the double quotes. If you want to save something inside a variable which is of string format, it is mandatory for you to use either double quotes or single quotes. You can also use single quotes, by the way. So if I just say Oracle is equals to single quotes 110, yes, it will create this as well. So let's say, see here, 110 with Oracle as a variable of string data type. Either double quotes or either single quotes, you have to choose. But your text should be in between the two single quotes or two double quotes. Okay. Now, because it is an integer variable, I can do a mathematical operations on it, right? For example, I wanted to add 2 to the 2 as a digit to 30. Now I say print 30 plus 2, automatically 32. Or I would say print Oracle underscore num is a variable, multiplied with 2. Let me see, 60. I wanted to take it to the power of 2, right? 30 power 2. So if I say star star, let's see, 30 power 2, 900. I wanted to see, Oracle, this number divided by 2. Just say this operator. It is 15.0. 30 divided by 2 is 15.0, right? So you can do all of these mathematical operations here. But as you know, mathematical operations can be made only on the numbers, not on the string, right? In case if you want to do some mathematical operations on the string data type, what is the string data type? Oracle text. And then if you say plus 2, you know the error. It is an error. You can only concatenate string, not int. This operation is invalid. Okay. Now, in one print statement, you have created 3 variables. You wanted to print them in one single screen. You have multiple ways of printing multiple variables on a single print command. Either the first one, what is it saying? Oracle plus this variable plus this variable plus this variable. But there is an issue with this pattern. What is the issue with this pattern? If you are using plus as an icon and each variable is of different data type, if the data type is not a string variable, it will throw an error like this. If you want to use a plus icon to concatenate all the variable values and print on the screen single at once, you have to convert every variable into string variable. So I'm converting numeric variable into string variable. I'm converting the date also into string variable. Now if I execute this command, you see this is Oracle's Python for Beginners course. You see the problem here, space is not there, 30 and followed by the date. Now there is another way to basically print the same thing without using plus operator. Instead you can use comma as a separator. Now if I use comma as a separator, see everything is very clean and neat. This is Oracle's Python for Beginners course, 30 space the date. Here one more thing is you need not convert the data type from numeric to string, string to numeric or integer to date, date to integer, you need not convert. Comma is the savior for you. And using the comma also you can convert the variables, it will not stop. There is no much difference. And if you use plus icon, see the problem? It did not create any white space between the variables by default. So in case if you want to use this method And if you want to print a very good statement, you have to do it like this. See? Now I said I'm adding additional, text also in between the variable names. I'm saying this is the text. It should follow with this. Then you have to attach this. Then you have to attach this to basically frame a statement. Now if I execute this, see what is the statement. This is Oracle's Python for Beginners course, started on this date and runs for 30 days. And runs for is something that I wrote manually. Days is something that I wrote manually. And because I have given white space before days, that's the reason you see 30. After 30, there is a white space. If you want to use plus icon. If you don't want to use plus as a separator, you want to use comma as a separator, absolutely you can go and do this. See, you need not convert everything. Using the comma separator, you can obviously do this. Exactly the same thing. All right. Comma by default adds a space into your string. So that's the reason I need not give additional space inside my double quotes. And if I remove this and also execute, I get the perfect one. Okay. Now there is another way of printing things. People, they do it as a habit as well. You give everything in single quotes, and inside the print itself, you have something called format. Variable 1, variable 2, variable 3. You write the complete statement and you say variable 1 is nothing but Oracle text. Variable 2 is nothing but this, and variable 3 is nothing but this, so that it prints everything here for your screen. Now you see here, I think it is on the 2 lines, so I have to select Oracle's Python for Beginners started on exactly the same way. But people write the prints in different formats, so you should know it. And in case if you don't want to use a specific name inside the print statement, you can say 0, 1, 2, 3, and everything can be in the order. So whatever you have in the format, instead of var 1, var 2, var 3, you can directly say this, so that 0 belongs to this variable, 1 belongs to this variable, 2 belongs to this variable. Now if I print this, it is also the same thing. All right. So these are the different prints which I did not wanted to take you through in the last session, because I thought I should go a little slower in the first session itself. All right. So the next data type for us to learn is Boolean. Boolean is nothing but true or false, yes or no, right? Up or down, something like this. Boolean, either only 2 values. So in Python, to create a Boolean value, this is case sensitive. The first alphabet should be uppercase. You can have true or you can have false like this. If you use double quotes in this, it will become a string. It is no more going to be Boolean. Now if I execute this, you see the type here Boolean. Okay. If I keep the same true in a double quotes, it becomes a string. So this is a syntax of creating a Boolean value in Python. And now by chance, if you are basically giving the same variable name here, but you are making it false, you are basically overriding the same variable value. That means whatever was the value of the same variable in the past, you are overwriting it with this command. So something that you have to really make a note of. If you are using the same variable name now that you have used above in the program, whatever is going to be the current value of that command, it is going to be replacing the value inside the memory. Okay. So if I say this and enter, I see print value is true. But as soon as I change it to false and I print, it becomes false. From now on, this particular variable will be false itself until unless you manually change it to true again. This is applicable to all the data types, whether it is date, whether it is numeric or integer, whether it is string or text, whatever it is. If the variable name is same, you are overwriting the value of the variable. Okay. Now another thing is, you can send a value of one variable into the another variable also. Now for example this. Now if I say print var2, exactly the same as Oracle text. So a value of one variable you can directly pass in as a value into another variable also. Okay, this is also possible, and it is possible with all the data types again. So you also see the value here. Oracle text value is the same as Oracle var2 variable 2 value. Okay, And the very important topic for you, I have a complete chapter also coming up for you on objects here. Okay, so right here we are going to spend the complete session on objects. But just to introduce you, object is one of the type of memory structures that is available today in the memory. I'm creating a class for you. What is this class? If I just create this class, the class is created for you. I'll explain what is class later. But when I create a variable called any variable, you can give any name. For example, Oracle underscore object, and then say I give the name of this class that I created. And you see, it is an Oracle class object. This is an object. You see the value here? So all the classes, if you load into a variable, those classes are called as objects. Okay. Now, inside this class, I said a value is 10. Inside this class, there is a function that will print hello, right? If I wanted to see the value of it, you should just say Oracle object.a, you will see as 10. If I wanted to execute this function, I just say Oracle object dot function. It is executing this print statement and it is saying hello. And please remember, while creating a class or function, these spaces are important. This is the syntax of Python. Anything which is starting in the indentation, below the class, all of these lines belongs to this class. And as soon as you end your line without a space, that means this class ends here. So Python is a programming language that is very sensitive of indentations. This particular tab of space is called indentation. Remember this. Okay. Given an indentation in your Python program, it is part of that loop. It is a part of that class. It is a subset of that, for loop. It is a subset of while loop, etc., etc. I'm going to take you through very much in detail in the further classes, but because you are creating it or you're learning it now right away to know that the objects data types, you have to know this. And that's the reason there is double indentation here. What does it mean? This command belongs to class. There is one indentation and it belongs to this function. That's why second indentation for that line. That means this print statement is a part of this function. It is not part of this class. But because this is only one indentation away, this A is a part of this class. All right, cool. Now let me recollect. Let me help you recollect. Like you created your own classes, these are also the classes. You can call it that way as well. Datetime is a class. Inside that class, you are running another function called datetime and you're executing some command to get the current date and time of the system. That's it. As simple as that. Right? So that's the reason yesterday in the last session also, what did we do? We just basically said import OS. This is a class, right? And inside this OS, there is a function called, right? Get PID, process ID, and I'm printing it, right? Run this, both of them. See, this is the process ID of your current system. This is nothing different from whatever class that you have created in this step. Somebody who developed the Python, program, he created a class called OS. And inside this class, he created some function called get PID, something like this. Inside that function, he told what exactly it should do. And when you load it into your kernel and it will run the same thing, it is doing the job as it was programmed. And as you know now, you can get into this program also. Click on the command button on your keyboard, click on this, it will take you there. See, this is what is the get PID structure is all about. Okay. And it can tell you, see, what is the process ID, get process ID, print the process ID. That's what it is doing. All right. Please do not do anything with this POSIX file. Just close it. Don't change anything, please. Okay. Cool. And the last topic for us in this session is how do I prompt an input from the user? Okay. I wanted to assign a value to the variable called A, but I don't want me to give inside the program. When the program is executed, let the program ask the end user, give me your input. So if that is the case, I'm executing this line. As soon as you execute this line, see here, there is a different operator waiting for you. Click here and you say 10, it is done. Now if I say print A is nothing but 10, see? But sadly, any input that you send into this, variable, that input will become string data type. But I don't want that to become a string data type. If I want input to become one specific data type I know that user will give. So you have to specify it like this. Take the input from the user, but convert it as an integer and store into the variable called a. Now if you see, again it is prompting me the input. I'm giving 20. Now if I see print a, it is 20. And it is of the type integer. And it has replaced. Earlier it was a string data type and the value was 10. Now it is integer data type and the value is 20. Alright. So just to give you a recap what we dealt just now, we basically covered text or string data types. We covered numeric or integer data types. We covered booleans. We covered a very simple small example of object or class. We covered data operations like plus operator, all the operators on, very basic operators on the integer variables. And then we have also seen how to prompt input from the user. All right. So with this, I'll open up for the questions now. I can spare 10 minutes, that's fine. And I can take 10 minutes of questions before we close the session today. And one more thing, probably nobody is asking anything. This point that I missed telling you guys, you can't assign a true value, a boolean value to a variable in this. It will throw an error, which means it is expecting a variable which is available inside your system with the name true. It is not existing, right? So the syntax is always the uppercase first character and then write true. Only then it will identify that it's a value of type boolean and it should assign that value into the variable. Okay? Sorry. Any questions, please? Nobody have got any questions? Okay, surprising. So somebody? Right. Okay, so input is nothing but, see, in this program, if I execute this complete program, right, I'm directly assigning a value into a variable, right? In few cases, when you're building some applications in real time, you might be dependent on input of a user. And then basis on that input, you want to program and you wanted to decide the next action items of the program. For example, I'm building a web application. I wanted to first get the input of the user. What is your experience? Okay. I wanted to take the input from the user, your experience. Basis on that, I'm going to show them the job opportunities available in the market. I have to program this, right? That means I'm dependent on somebody to give an input first, then execute. Basis on that, execute my further steps. In those cases, I basically do this, right? Just give an input. It will ask there is a different way of showing it on the web, but I just took a real example so that you can match it. Okay. I just execute this, then it will ask the end user, give me an input. So that input, user can say, I have 5 years of experience. Now in the next step, after you assign this 5 into this variable, you will write your very big program. Okay. If experience is between, A is between 0 and 5, show these jobs. A is between 5 and 10, show these jobs. A is between 10 to 12, show these jobs, etc., etc. You get me? Makes some sense? Cool. Okay, thank you. Okay. Alright, I'm assuming that nobody has questions. In case, if I am a little fast in this session, please feel free to share the feedback over the WhatsApp. We can break the complete chapter into 2 sessions as well. I know there are going to be lengthier sessions coming up in the future already, so a chapter would be by default divided into 2 sessions. But in case if you still feel that I'm going a little faster, please feel free to go back to the videos, right? The video sessions are there for you, and go through it again, and then let me know in case if you get some questions anytime on the WhatsApp. Okay. All right. So I basically again wanted to request you practice all of this. I have just written everything before the session, and I'm executing everything on the screen so that I can cover more topics. But for you, you keep these files separate and open up a new file, start writing it on your own, and only then you get practice. Okay. So on this note, thank you guys. So see you in the next session. I'll send you the meeting request. Thank you.